Hey everyone, welcome to an impromptu video on the year-end Hot 100 songs chart. I started doing this last year more because I was very angry about the 2023 year-end according to Billboard, and as it turned out so were a lot of people, so I definitely felt justified. But yeah, I just thought I would boot this up and give my thoughts on the charts as I'm first seeing them, at least properly. I gave it a cursory glance, of course, and I thought, yeah, there's about enough material here to make some kind of video, so let's go for it. So the first thing I noticed that Lose Control by Teddy Swims is the song of the year. I gotta be honest, I didn't see that one coming. I honestly did think a bar song, Tipsy, would take it, but I suppose that's the success of longevity. That is definitely something you'll see once I do put together the Irish year-end Hot 100, which will be out at the very end of the year / very beginning of next year, because I actually track everything from January to December, Billboard. But you'll see on there are quite a number of songs that did a lot better than you might expect, and that's just because they stick around for so long that they just rack up a lot of points. And Lose Control was in the top 10 for ages. So, I mean, look, I don't mind the song. He's done better. I am surprised that it's the only Teddy Swims song on this list. I wasn't paying as much attention to Billboard's charts, to be honest, and so it's a little odd seeing The Door isn't here. Bad Dreams might make next year's Hot 100, at least I hope so, for your guys' sake, because it's by far his best song to date. But yeah, I'm perfectly okay with this. And actually, I would honestly say, in general, this is a really strong top 10 showing. Looking at the top 10 as a whole, you have Lose Control, a bar song, drop off in quality with Beautiful Things, that's undeniable. I Had Some Help is fine. I have never gotten the hate for Lovin' On Me. I think that song is fun. And then you have Not Like Us, one of the best songs of the year. Espresso, it's grown on me. Sabrina Carpenter as a whole had to grow on me a lot in 2024, and I'll get more into that in a different video. Million Dollar Baby, I Remember Everything, and Too Sweet. Already you have some of the best songs, I think, of the year overall in the top 10, which is incredible. I think as a top 10, this is definitely the strongest since 2020, if not even longer. It's really, really cool to see how well all these songs did, especially My Boy Hosier in the top 10 as well. Now, I'm not going to say it's better than the Irish top 10. No, actually I will, because the Irish top 10, we did get, spoilers, we did get Good Luck Babe in our top 10, but we also did get Michael Markagee and a few other artists that most of you have probably never heard of, and they just bring down the quality so badly. So yeah, I would honestly say that you guys in the US had a slightly better top 10 than us, so good for you, I guess. But yeah, overall, fairly happy with this. A little surprised that Sabrina is only at number 7, just because of how ubiquitous she was. I'm a little surprised that Espresso racked up more points than Kendrick's Not Like Us. But I do notice that, yeah, sure, there was Please, Please, Please. And yes, there was Taste, both of which are fine, but Feather, oh, I am so glad to see this song actually getting attention, because it was by far one of the biggest snubs last year, and I went on a bit of a rant about it last year on Twitter, I remember, so glad to see that it's actually gotten some legs since then. Let's actually move on to another couple of things I noticed, and why I think this might be one of those years where the overall Billboard Hot 100 is gonna end up being better than the Irish one, just because of how much strong quality managed to push through. Like, I'm so jealous of a couple of these. You guys got Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar. You also got Made For Me, I believe? No, Made For Me. Yeah. Made For Me by Mooney Long, which I also just think is fantastic. I wish Mooney Long had more legs internationally, because I just love her music. But that being said, you also got Truck Bed in the top 100, which never even touched the Irish charts, so overall I'm pretty happy with that. Though I do notice, do you know what's not on this list? Charlie. There's no Charlie anywhere. What the fuck, guys? I mean, I know that she didn't have as good of a year, but like, Brat Summer was everywhere. It's all anyone seemed to be talking about, and there's not one Charlie XCX song in this list. We have 3 hits making the year end in Ireland, so I'm delighted with that, but I'm a little surprised that not even Guess with Billie Eilish made the year end Hot 100, considering how great of a year Billie had. Now, at this point, I'd actually like to call attention to the entire top 40, because this is arguably one of the strongest top 40s that I've seen Billboard produce in a long time. This is a really strong showing of 40 songs. Now, it is severely bogged down by 3 songs, namely the worst and biggest song of last year. I genuinely think this is one of Morgan Wallen's worst ever songs, and I'm so glad it only barely scraped the Irish charts. And of course, Thinking About Me, which also, honestly, at a point I was a little worried that Thinking About Me and Cowgirls were both going to be on the Irish year-end list, but thankfully they didn't rack up anywhere near enough points. Thank fuck for that. But yeah, these are abysmal songs. Oh, and sorry, I say 3 songs, I almost forgot this one, which, look, in a vacuum, and I say this as someone who's only ever heard the song in full once, I refuse to go back to it, but in a vacuum, it's not like this is worse than Try That in a Small Town by Jason Aldine, which is just so much worse on so many levels, which is only one little part of the reason why 2023's Billboard year end was so bad, but it is still really depressing and pretty sickening to see this do so well, considering, I mean, not just the artist, the main artist behind it, but the content is disgusting, the production is ass, and I mean, look, it's not like Rich the Kid or Playboi Carti is gonna save it. But apart from those 4, that still means like 90% of the charts were at least decent. I might not like some of these songs, like Greedy, but they don't give me the ick the same way those 4 do. And overall, I would say there's more than enough great songs to really combat it. So yeah, really happy with that. Now, one of the other things that you could have probably predicted is that there is a lot more country music here on the Hot 100 than there would be in Ireland. Really, if you take a lot of the standard, like, Nate Smith songs, like Bulletproof and World on Fire, you take those out and Bailey Zimmerman, and replace them with, just very standard EDM songs, you kind of have a good feel of what the Irish charts were like this year. And honestly, I don't have really strong positive or negative emotions towards most of the songs here, though of course Hardy is the exception. White Horse by Chris Stapleton is the complete opposite side of that spectrum. Obviously the Zach Bryan songs, despite my obviously conflicted feelings about him as a person and as an artist, the music is still really good, and there are some songs that are tainted and I can't go back to, and then there are others that have just picked up a whole new level of meaning for me. So either way, it at least elicits more emotion than the latest. Again, I don't know, what did Bailey Zimmerman do this year? What was his song whose title I've already forgotten? Where It Ends? I'm not going to remember that song in 2 days. I can't remember how it goes as I'm saying this. But apart from the forgettable ones, you did have a couple of songs that did surprise me. Obviously, Luke Combs is always going to be a favorite of mine. He had 3 songs? Okay, so Fast Car makes sense. Actually, my least favorite Luke Combs hit to date, definitely. I don't get Ain't No Love in Oklahoma. I just think it misuses all of his strengths. And Where the Wild Things Are, which I do genuinely love. It's really grown on me. I actually think it's one of his best hits. Real shame it did not have the same amount of momentum in the Irish charts. It was mainly in the bottom 50 for most of the year, and so it didn't rack up enough points, but I genuinely love that song. But hey, that was the country. A couple of extremes and overall a lot of meh. So let's instead pivot towards rap music. So obviously, Not Like Us being the biggest rap song of the year makes a whole lot of sense. It was culturally inescapable, a massive landmark song, and I'm actually delighted to see it get as much attention as it did get. But overall, say what you will about like which side you were on or whether the Kendrick and Drake beef was healthy for the culture of hip-hop. It did definitely lead to it getting a lot more traction this year than I think it otherwise would have. You have a lot more hip-hop on this list than you would have last year, for example. Like, yes, you have the Drake songs, which are to be expected. You have the Four Bats cosign, still the most obvious industry plant working today. But you also had Glorilla had a couple of songs that were really good, including the Meg Thee Stallion one. Wish that Hiss had gotten more traction instead of Wannabe, but look, I'll take what I can get. And then you had the Nicki songs. She had 2 of them, I believe. That's right. One, Everybody with Lil Uzi Vert, and of course FTCU. Look, I don't like either song. I think Nicki is washed and that she should be out of here. But at the same time, again, for the genre as a whole, it is cool to see that these songs did have legs and that rap hasn't completely gone away the way it seemed to last year, where really Lil Durk was the last great bastion of what a rap hit was going to be. One last thing I will say on the hip-hop conversation is that it is really unfortunately funny to see how well most of the Kendrick tracks did versus the Drake ones. Like That was a big hit, Not Like Us was a big hit, Euphoria is also here, and yet if we look for, let's say, push-ups, nope. Okay, let's say Family Matters. Nope. Like, look, you can say as much as you want that Billboard is in the pocket of Drake. I agree that when they report on him, it does seem that way. But even they couldn't deny that his songs in this beef just didn't have the same impact. Again, regardless of who you think won or who had the better songs, it's clear who the general public seemed to favor here. That's all I'm saying. But let's not kid ourselves here. The biggest story, the biggest genre of the year was definitely pop music, which had a massive return to form this year. I mean, not only do you have my queen, our queen, Chapel Rowan, absolutely dominating with not 1 but 2 hits on the year-end Hot 100, because Hot to Go also made it. Pretty high as well, I should add. I'm so delighted to see those songs pick up traction. But you also had Sabrina, who had 4 hits. You had, I think even Dua Lipa had 2 hits by the end of the year. Yeah, you had Dance the Night, and you also had Houdini. Fucking amazing song. So glad to see it also gaining a lot of traction. And of course, you can't really talk about pop music without mentioning Taylor Swift. So unsurprisingly, Taylor had 6 songs on the year-end Hot 100. Down Bad is a surprising one, though I'm not mad to see it here. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, amazing. Is It Over Now? More of a leftover of last year, but again, I will accept it being here. Fortnite, of course, one of the biggest songs of the year, and Cruel Summer, another leftover from 2023. So 5 songs in all, and overall, I'm fairly happy with them. I either like or love all of those songs. I could really take or leave. I Could Do It With a Broken Heart, which I know I have had Swifties reach out to me and tell me that I have been kicked out of the club for that one. But I don't care. I liked the album, and for me, that's good enough. Oh, and sorry, I almost forgot Billie. Billie had a huge year. She had Birds of a Feather, obviously, leftover from last year with What Was I Made For? Lunch, fuck yes. And of course, Wildflower, which is also making the Irish year-end Hot 100 and was really a surprise sleeper hit. It's not one of the more standout tracks from her last album for me, but I'm still glad to see it get some traction. I imagine it's going to be like the sneaky critical pick that nobody's going to see coming and that people are going to put on their year-end list to really subvert expectations, when in reality, we shouldn't really be kidding ourselves. Lunch is likely the best song on the album. At least it is for me most days. But that being said, Birds of a Feather did grow on me a lot. I still prefer Chihiro, and it's a shame it didn't make the year-end list. But again, this was the song that I don't even think Billie expected to take off the way it did, and it's really nice to see it gain as much traction as it did. There's definitely a couple of other things I'd like to mention, one of them being Jessie Murph. It is such an enigma to me. I don't really see what people see in her. Like, she's fine. I mean, honestly, she's a little less than fine. She's kind of meh to me. Like, she elicits no emotional response. Like, the artist on the Irish side for me for that this year was probably Gracie Abrams, who had a lot of big hits in 2024, and next to Chapel, next to Sabrina, next to Charlie, next to Dua, it just did not measure up. I don't understand the amount of hype that Gracie seems to be getting, but I at least understand that, like, she can write a catchy hook even if she has a team of songwriters helping her. She has one or two songs I think are great. I can't think of anything that's remotely stuck with me as much as, say, Risk, or even, like, Close to You, to a much lesser extent, that Jessie has made. I just can't think of anything that has had that same emotional connection with me. But overall, yeah, putting it all together, I actually think that this is a much better showing than last year. Again, the frustrations with Billboard and how they manage their charts are still here. I fully get that people, are not going to be able to fully remove those emotions from that. But overall, no, I'm actually very pleasantly surprised with how this chart ended up. It was later than I think a lot of people were expecting after last year's was so early, but I actually prefer that they waited a bit longer, so I'd like them to keep that up in the future. Don't release it until like mid-December. That is the sweet spot. You don't... The whole time with the Billboard Music Awards last year was a terrible idea on behalf of your marketing department. Please don't ever do that again. But the point is, overall, I actually think this chart is pretty good. Not entirely representative of the real success of certain songs in the US, but that's always going to be the case with Billboard. And I definitely think it's better than last year, and honestly, the best year-end chart since 2021, I would say. Yeah, I'm actually very pleasantly surprised with how all of this shook out. And, yeah, good job, Billboard. You've done a slightly better job. I still don't think it's going to convince many people to return to you. I know a lot of people have moved on from using the year-end charts as a barometer for how their year-end lists are going to shake out because of just how bad last year's was. But who knows? You may win back a few fans with this one. My closing statements and sort of parting advice I would give to Billboard, if anybody there is watching this, would be... you need to ban Christmas music. For the love of God. Like, I don't know how many there are because I couldn't be bothered to count. You know what? I'll take a moment to count now and just edit it out.
A few minutes later.
There we go. 5 out of songs on the year-end Hot 100 are Christmas songs. Those are 5 songs, 5 slots that could have gone to other, more deserving hits. Nobody ever likes it when you do this, so why do you continue to do it? Just exclude them. We don't care about the Christmas music, okay? And that's it. So going into this, I wasn't sure how I'd feel, but overall, I'm a lot more positive than I was last year, which probably means this won't get anywhere near the same amount of traction or views, but hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave your own thoughts on this year-end chart in the comments below. And hey, if you do have any predictions for what the Irish year-end chart could look like, made by yours truly, then please leave those down there as well. I'd love to see your theories, even what you expect to be the song of the year, because spoilers, it's not Lose Control by Teddy Swims. That's all I'll say for now, and until the next time, I'm Finn, and this is The Social Tune, signing off.